Good day doodlers, welcome to Draw Cartoons. Today we'll be looking at how to draw Bloodhound from Apex Legends, as requested. Make sure you watch until the end because I've got a neat trick or two to show you as usual. You're going to need a pencil, paper, an eraser, and a Sharpie to go over your sketch with. Let's go! Let's get started. But first, if you want to learn to draw the fast and easy way, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. Let's begin. So let's do our usual. Let's start with a circle at the top. As always, doesn't have to be a perfect circle, just kind of like a circle like that. And if it helps you get the proportions right, first we'll kind of cut this circle in half so we know where the middle of the face is going to be, because this is all the head. And if it helps you with the proportions, draw 3 more circles about the same size as the one that you drew originally. So you end up with this kind of snowman shape. Okay? So just draw those 3 circles like that and cut them all in half right down the middle. You can be really kind of messy with this and really kind of not too neat because they're all just guidelines. And once you've got that line down the middle, you know how far it needs to go. Draw a flat line right across the bottom, and then we can just kind of erase away these circles. We don't really need these circles, it was just kind of to show us how tall we want our character to be. So I'm just going to erase these away, we don't really need those anymore. Okay, so now we should end up with this kind of lollipop standing on a flat shape like that. Okay, so once you've got that shape, again with your pencil, just kind of draw a box down to almost where your previous circle ended. Okay, about there. And once that's drawn, that's the torso, that's the body. And once that's drawn, draw a little line here for where the legs join up. And then just draw a straight line down either side of our guideline, right in the middle, either side of this line here. Once you've done that, you can just kind of bring another gentle line down for each of the legs, coming away a little bit maybe to keep the legs a bit further apart. And as you reach the bottom, just draw a little wedge at the end of each leg, just like that. That's where the feet are going to be. So that's our guideline for our character. We're going to draw everything that our character's got on these guides. So let's just quickly draw in the shapes of the arms. Now this arm comes kind of down like this. I'm going to draw a line across the end just for now. We'll tackle drawing the hand later. But this arm is going to look a little bit different. You might be able to see by the quick sketch I did earlier. We're actually going to draw the arm up so that the raven can be sat on his arm. So to do that, draw a line just kind of across like this, not a perfectly straight line, just kind of bending it down a little bit. And then when I get that far, just above it, I'm going to just go straight for drawing the hand. So if it helps, you can draw kind of like a square that's a bit tilted to the side like this. I think this is a good way to draw it. So it's a fairly even square, the sides are all kind of equal in size. And then, just along the bottom here, just draw a little lump like that along the bottom. That's the thumb. And then you can just draw 3 kind of sausage shapes sitting on top of that. And you leave this part of the square completely blank. If it helps you at this point, you can just kind of erase that little corner. And if we just smooth out the tops of these knuckles, these hands here, we can see we've got a clenched fist and we've got something for his raven to sit on. But we'll tackle that later. For now, I want to get to drawing the face because the face is the really tricky part, so we might as well get the difficult stuff out of the way first. So again, we're going to cut this top circle in half again right across the middle, so we end up with this kind of pizza cut in 4 quarters. And once we've done that, we're going to draw the gas mask. Now the gas mask is really, really tricky, so stay with me here. We're going to start just above this central guideline here, right here. We're going to just kind of guide a line down to about here, okay? Once you get there, draw a very small line straight down, and then it finishes by flicking off a little bit to the side there. Okay? Not a super easy shape, but try and get that as well as you can. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So just with my pencil, just going to kind of guide a line down carefully, straight down, and then flicking out a little bit. Now on this side of the gas mask, there's a small sphere, like a semi-sphere on this side. So just draw it kind of sitting snug there, and there's a few holes in this, looking a bit like cheese actually. And then in the middle of the gas mask, we've got a tall rectangle right through the middle of this guideline here. So just draw that there. and you'll want to separate that into a few more kind of lines just like that. That's kind of how it looks on Bloodhound. And now the other side of the gas mask is a little bit tricky. Well, the whole gas mask is tricky, you know, but stay with me here. We've got a really, really difficult shape to draw. So you see how we flick this line out? So we want to actually carry this on a little bit. And this is a pipe now. This is a pipe that goes down towards the chest and kind of curls around the back like that. You see this kind of snaking shape we got going on? So it kind of goes out and then in and out and then just kind of tucks in behind Bloodhound. So once you've drawn that, you can just kind of begin to draw it back. Just follow the shape that you drew before. Almost like you're just kind of following a line, really. And then end up at the gas mask again. That's not easy, might take a few tries, but once you've got it down, it's going to look super awesome. So once you get to the end of that pipe, just join it up with a curve here, and another curve just wrapping around that one there. Now, another part of the gas mask, there's a small circle here, just between our rectangle and this this odd, I don't know, I'm going to call it the cheese shape. It's not actually cheese, but it looks a bit like it with the holes. And then coming out of this circle, we've got a small cable that just kind of goes below Bloodhound's arm, and then it just kind of disappears behind their back. So there's one more kind of key feature of the gas mask I want to draw in here. We've got a triangle on this side, and it's symmetrical. There's another triangle on this side. Big kind of wedges that there's a straight line straight down towards the center, and then these are joined up by a big band that goes through one and then into the other like that. Don't worry about lines overlapping. We've got some overlap here and overlap here. Don't worry about that. As usual, we're just going to forget about the overlaps when we go over it with a Sharpie later, and we'll just kind of go over the lines we want to keep. So I'm going to move on to the eyes now. Now, speaking of drawing circles like we did for the head earlier, we're going to draw a big circle on this side, just kind of sitting. You see that where it's joining up there? Sitting on the end of the gas mask, and then we're just going to draw in a rim for this lens on this side. And guess what? We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So another nice big circle, all the better to see you with, no doubt. And then a rim for the lens, just there. Now, we can draw in the hat now. I think this is a good place to draw in the hat, or the helmet. I guess it's more of a helmet, really. So right along the tops of these lenses for the goggles, there's the very bottom of the hat, and then right over that, coming right out here, there's another shape that kind of angles down towards the center of the head and comes back out. And then you can join those up by just kind of swinging over the top of the head like this. Okay, so we end up with this really kind of wide fan shape, like one of those manual fans you actually have to waft in your face to get them to work. Now we've got a little piece of metal coming out on this side. I guess maybe it's for balance? I don't know. It's kind of a funny looking helmet. So we've got these little pieces on each side like that, just kind of wedges sticking out. Now along the top of the helmet we have this pattern. It starts here, it curves towards the middle but then curves out. Okay, curves towards the middle and then curves out. And we can end it where we drew the guideline for the top of the head, because there's a small band of metal here. Let me just tidy that up so you can see a little bit better. So there's a small band of metal here, and then coming out of that, lots of small ribbons. So a good way to draw that is just draw it coming right out, like this. Another kind of fan shape. And then you can just kind of cut the end like this, and you can tidy that up when you go over it with your Sharpie later. You can make maybe some sticking out a bit unevenly if you want to. You can kind of play with that because they're only soft shapes. Now there's a small rim just along the larger part of this helmet here, and we're almost done with Bloodhound's head, and I promise this is the hardest part of the character, although having said that, the torso's also quite tricky, but don't worry, we're going to tackle it all together. So let's finish off this head here. I'm just going to bring that out a bit so it looks like it's really sitting on Bloodhound's head a bit more. Okay, so coming away from that I just drew, there's a small kind of flap of leather here, and it just kind of comes down and sits beside the goggles. So that's on both sides. And then there's a few straps here on the side of the face. You can just kind of draw in a few rectangular shapes. They can look a little bit loose because they're just like leather straps with some metal studs in them. You can draw that on both sides. It's going to look really awesome. Lots of really nice detail going on there. So a couple more straps here, just kind of on the side of the face. There's one big strap here down the middle. Let's just draw that in there, right between the eyes. And the mask is pretty much as far done as we can go with it. So I'm going to move on to the torso now. So right at the top of the torso, let me just tidy up these guidelines a bit more so you can see mine a bit better. Let's just ease in the bottom of the head a bit more. There we go. So just so you can see what I'm doing, we're going to draw a small shape here for where the top of their top is, kind of where their neck is. Okay. And then just to the side of this, there's a flap for the collar. You might not be able to see the one on this side because we've got this pipe in the way, but that's okay. There's lots of layering to this character, lots of things sitting in front of other things. That's fine. If anything goes behind that, you just don't have to worry about drawing it. And once you've got this kind of flap in here, you can draw a cord that comes down across the front of the chest and then back up behind this pipe. So just going to draw another line alongside that one to give that cord some thickness, and then there's actually two cables here, so I'm going to do one that goes maybe a bit lower. Let's just give that a bit more shape there, make it actually look like it's its own cable. And there we go, we've got this kind of red cable that dangles down in front of the body. Now, Bloodhound has some, I guess they're decorative discs, or maybe they're mines. They just kind of sit here. So one disc there, another disc there, and one last disc just here. And then kind of following this curving pattern going across the body like this, there's a pouch sitting here right in the front of their body. You just draw kind of a lid for that pouch with a button on the front. And we need to do the same again next to it, just another pouch here. Again, just a little lid and then a button on the front. Like I said, lots of fine details on this character. And then we've got a small buckle just kind of hanging down here, and just kind of drawing these shapes here. A rectangle followed by a slightly wider rectangle sitting underneath it, and then a circle here. Maybe really good for opening bottles if he gets thirsty. So we've got some armor sitting right across the belly. So we'll draw a line from under this pouch, underneath that strap, and it goes to the end of the torso, comes down, and before you get to the bit where the torso meets the legs, just before that, we'll draw a line that curves down and then curves back up underneath those pouches. Maybe you want to draw a few kind of scratches on this if you want, just kind of showing that Bloodhound's had one or two scrapes in their time. And then just underneath that, there is another small layer of armor. Just kind of a small curve sitting underneath that. And this one's got some holes in it. So we've got two holes like that. Then we've got a couple holes on either side. There's some holes there. And there's just a couple of holes right at the top there before it... drawing that one a bit off center. Before it goes underneath that other green piece of armor just here. So once we've drawn that in, we can just kind of meet up with the sides with a belt that kind of sits underneath here. There we go. Just a simple belt, doesn't have to be anything too fancy. It isn't too fancy on the original design. I'm going to draw another little bit here. There's a small kind of fur lining there on the actual character. So once we've drawn that in, we can actually bring part of Bloodhound's coat down. So following in from here, I'm just going to draw a line that comes out a bit and then swings back in, covering the top of the thigh, just like that. Okay? And then I'm going to bring it back up to sit underneath our hold piece of armor here. I'm going to do that on both sides. So again, this kind of line that curves out and then in and goes up and sits underneath the armor. Okay? Doesn't matter if that's not too symmetrical. It is cloth, so it can wave around in the wind, so it doesn't have to be too perfect. It's not a particularly solid object. So now we can kind of tackle those legs. I think a good thing to do at this point is actually to draw these shin pads in, because they're so distinctive. So to do that, I'm going to draw a straight line across here and turn it into a kind of capital D shape that points down, just like this. Okay, so I'm going to do that on the other side for you, just so you can see what I'm talking about. See, it's kind of like a D that's kind of fallen over, it's kind of rolling on its front. Once you've got that down, just draw a straight line. There's a white stripe right down the middle of that shape, and then there's a small bolt in each corner, I guess, so to speak, of this D shape here. So we'll just draw those in. And at the backs of these knee pads, it's just a strap kind of holding it in place, just like that. So just wrap it around the guidelines that you drew for the legs. Now I'm actually going to draw where the legs connect again here. So here you can see this is very, very high. I don't want it to be quite that high because it'll make Bloodhound look like their legs are really, really long. So I'm just going to gently kind of erase that. Okay, I'm going to bring it down a bit. And if yours looks fine, that's great. You've actually done better than I have there. I've been doing this for a long time. So I'm going to bring that down a bit. You can see it makes quite a big difference now. We've got the legs don't look really, really lanky and long because they're not particularly long on Bloodhound. Not too long. Okay, just tidying up my guidelines here a little bit. So for the boots, right where the feet meet the shins, this bit here, we're going to draw a line straight across like that, and then another one right above it. And guess what? We're going to do the same thing on the other side, just like that. I want to draw in a few more. They're kind of straps that loop around the leg. Nearly said foot, but that's not the foot. That's the leg right here. And then the clothing kind of puffs out right where the strap sits. So I'm going to draw some curves just like that. Feel free to do the same on yours. I think these small added details really kind of add up to make the drawing look way more interesting. So let's tackle the shoes. Now we've actually kind of got the shapes of the shoes down here. I'm just going to kind of go over it again to make it look more solid. Okay, just kind of following my guidelines at the moment. And then I'm going to draw in a very small, narrow line right along the bottom like this. That's just the sole of the shoe. And now that that's in, I'm going to draw a few more bandages sitting over the shoe. I'm not sure what Bloodhound did to their shoe to warrant so many bandages, but there's one there. Maybe there's one in front of it as well. Yep, there's one in front of it. Just kind of sitting like this. I guess it can go kind of crazy like that, because who knows how often Bloodhound rebandages their shoes. They're always getting in trouble, aren't they? Okay, so finally we can tackle these arms. So at the top of each arm, where the shoulder is, let's draw a line that comes out, cuts right across the arm like that. When you get to the bottom of the arm, I'm going to draw almost like a chevron shape. It's like an arrow pointing down, like that, okay? I'm going to do that on the other side, just to show you what I mean. So, cut across the arm, chevron pointing down. I'm just going to tuck that in to where more or less where the armpit is. And at the top of these, there's just a small plate of armor, just like that. So just draw that in at the top of each shoulder. Now let's draw in the shapes of the rest of the arms. So we're just going to kind of draw in some curves that end at the wrist that we drew here. Let's tackle this arm in just a moment because it's got a funny shape to it. So I'm going to jump to drawing this hand here. So starting here, I'm going to draw a bulge out for the thumb, draw a line across for where it can kind of meet the finger. And that's a clenched fist we're drawing. So 1, 2, 3 bumps. In this cartoonish style, we're only going to go ahead and draw 3 fingers and just bring it back to the wrist like that. And once that's drawn, we can draw a strap that goes right across the hand like that. Now this line in the middle is just a guideline, so if you can do your best to ignore it while we draw the rest. There's a line across here and another line across here, and then one more that kind of goes behind this kind of padded bit here. Okay. Now, this arm, this is the tricky bit. Well, this is another tricky bit. This character is quite difficult to draw, but stay with me. We're almost there. If you've got this far, you're going to end up with your own awesome drawing of Bloodhound. So stay with me here. We're almost done. So I think a good way to draw this is actually draw this part of the arm first. So we're going to come away from the thumb, come down, and then bring it up just there where that finger is, right? Then it would be good about the middle of this thumb, back here, okay? We're going to draw a line that curves up underneath that end finger, and we end up with this wrist kind of look here at the end of the fist. This is the forearm, and then we can just kind of join it up here. So a line going there and a line going underneath, and just curve it up behind that forearm there, so it all kind of connects up. Don't want to leave anything floating around. Let's just draw in a few curves along this forearm here for the bandages and stuff holding holding things in place on the arm. There's one on this side as well, just like there is on this arm here. Got to draw that in now. Okay, that's really tricky, might take a few tries. It's a trick known as foreshortening. When an arm is coming towards you in a drawing, it's very, very tricky to draw. So it will take you some time to kind of get that right, but if you can follow the steps as close as you can, you'll get the hang of it in no time. So now there's obviously a raven kind of perched on Bloodhound's arm, so we're going to draw that in now. So I like to start by drawing the tail feathers, so coming away from this finger here, just a small point there, much bigger point, and then a point there. Okay, so that's the tail feathers. And now, starting here, we'll draw a line that curves up, makes a small bump for the neck like this, and then once you get to about this level, we'll draw a beak pointing towards Bloodhound, just like this. Nice and sharp, nice and long. And then when we bring it back, just follow it all the way around to the back of the head, just like this. Lots of small, subtle curves here, but try and get that shape down as best you can. Again, it's one of those things that might take you a few tries. And then just bring this out a little bit before coming back down and tucking it to the side of the raven. Now once you've got this far, the rest is kind of just filling in the blanks. So this is part of the wing, so we'll kind of continue it in. Maybe give it a little feather here so it looks a bit more real, I guess, a bit more ruffled. I'm just going to draw a line in there to separate more of the feathers. And when we're drawing this beak, it looks really cool if we start from here, come back, and then finish there. So there's a bit of feathery stuff going on here right at the top of the beak. I want to draw a line through the middle of the beak to separate the top half of the beak from the bottom half. And finally just a small circle here for the eye. That's all you have to do, just a small circle. And there you go, you've drawn a raven perched on Bloodhound's arm. Perfect. So there's a few more details to add. Let's just draw some lines hanging down, sombrero style, from this helmet. One here too. Lots of overlapping in this picture, so be careful when you go over it with your Sharpie. You don't want to draw in too many of the wrong lines now, do you? And then just along these lines there's small trinkets and doodads just kind of dangling from them. So drawing a series of shapes, just little squares and rectangles hanging from those strings. Draw one behind this raven here, I'm sure it won't mind. Okay, and there we go. So our sketch of Bloodhound. Before I finish, actually I'm going to draw a small pouch here. Almost forgot about that. And there's actually a small pouch on this side as well, just a little kind of rectangle just sitting off the end. Got to come prepared after all, got to bring your supplies with you if you go into the heat of battle. Okay, so now I think our drawing of Bloodhound is done. So get your Sharpies ready and go over the lines you want to keep. Don't go over any of these guidelines, forget about those. Concentrate really hard when you're going over it, because there's lots of overlap going on here. But just go over the lines you want to keep, like these. You want to make sure the torso's in place and all that. So yeah, carefully go over your sketch and we'll take a look at the final product. Make sure you only go over the lines you want to keep with your Sharpie. This is a great time to correct any last mistakes you spot as you go over it and fix them. How awesome's that? Your own sweet drawing of the technological tracker Bloodhound. Here's a question for you today. If you've been playing Fortnite, have you started to play Apex more now? If so, why? Leave your answer in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video. Until next time,